You open an app on your phone, you tap a few buttons, buy a ticket, and step onto a massive metal tube. A few hours later, you're on the other side of the planet. Today, we are everywhere. From the freezing Arctic to remote tropical islands, humans have colonized every corner of the Earth. But 50,000 years ago, we did the exact same thing. Without airplanes, without trains, without roads, maps, or GPS. How did a slow, hairless, weak primate manage to cross deserts, oceans, and ice sheets to conquer the entire planet? The answer is one of the greatest adventure stories ever told. And it didn't happen because we were strong. It happened because we were clever. Let's start at the beginning of our global journey. Around 70,000 years ago, small groups of modern humans began migrating out of Africa. When we imagine this, we picture brave warriors charging into dark, dangerous inland forests, fighting wild beasts and climbing towering mountain ranges. But that is a myth. Early humans were smart. They didn't want to fight the jungle. They wanted to survive. So they took the easy way out. They followed the coast. This is what archaeologists call the Beachcomber Route, the world's first global highway. Instead of navigating trackless forests, our ancestors simply kept the ocean on their right side and walked. This coastal highway offered incredible advantages. The climate was mild. The landscape was flat, and most importantly, the food was endless. You didn't need to risk your life hunting a mammoth when the tide left behind a buffet of oysters, clams, and crabs. Seafood was high protein, easy to harvest, and completely safe. By following the shoreline, our ancestors walked all the way from the Middle East, around India, and down into Southeast Asia. It was a journey of thousands of miles, powered entirely by beachcombing, but eventually the beach ended, and they faced a barrier that no land mammal had ever crossed. To understand the next leap, we have to look underwater. Between Southeast Asia and Australia lies a deep ocean trench called the Wallace Line. For millions of years, even during the Ice Age when sea levels dropped, this water was too deep to freeze over or dry up. It was a hard biological boundary. Elephants, tigers, and rhinos could not cross it. But around 50,000 years ago, a strange land mammal arrived on the shores of Australia. Us. To get there, humans had to cross at least 50 miles of open, deep blue ocean. And they didn't do it by swimming. They did it by sailing. This means prehistoric humans had to build the world's very first seagoing watercraft. Using simple stone tools, they likely chopped down giant stalks of bamboo, tied them together with vines, and built heavy, sturdy rafts. It is hard to overstate how revolutionary this was. This wasn't just floating on a log by accident. It was deliberate, planned ocean engineering. Our ancestors had to look at a vast, trackless blue void. Imagine a land they couldn't see over the horizon and decide to build a machine to take them there. They crossed the Wallace Line, became the first mariners in history, and stepped onto a brand new continent. But while some sailed south, others headed north into the freezing cold. While one branch of humanity was navigating tropical seas, another was facing the extreme cold of Siberia. This was the peak of the last ice age, around 20,000 years ago. So much of the Earth's water was locked in massive glaciers that the global sea levels dropped by hundreds of feet. And as the ocean sank, a giant strip of land emerged between Siberia and Alaska. We call it Beringia, or the Bering Land Bridge. When we hear the word bridge, we imagine a narrow, icy, slippery walkway. But Beringia was massive, over 1,000 miles wide. It wasn't covered in ice. It was a dry, cold, grassy steppe, and it was filled with food. Giant herds of woolly mammoths, bison, and horses roamed this grassland. Humans didn't set out to discover America. They were just following their dinner. As hunter-gatherers tracked the mammoth herds, they slowly migrated east across this grassland. Over generations, they crossed from Asia into North America without ever realizing they had entered a new continent. At the same time, another group of travelers may have been using boats to sail down the Pacific coast, a route scientists call the Kelp Highway. Whether by land or by sea, humans had successfully crossed the ultimate icy barrier. But this leaves us with a giant question. How did they travel thousands of miles through deserts, tundras, and oceans without getting permanently lost? The answer is that they had the ultimate navigation system, and it was located entirely inside their heads. Ancient humans did not have paper maps, but they had an incredible capacity for spatial memory. They read the natural world like a book. They memorized the exact positions of the stars, knowing which constellations rose and set during different seasons. They watched the flight paths of migratory birds, knowing that a bird flying at dusk always led to land. They followed river systems, using them as natural flowing guideposts. And they tracked animal migrations, letting the instincts of wild beasts show them the safest paths through rugged mountain passes. Their minds held a dynamic, three-dimensional living map of the earth. They didn't need a screen to show them the way, because the sky, the water, and the dirt were their Google Maps. So, how did ancient humans travel the world? They did it by being the most adaptable, curious creature this planet has ever produced. They walked along beaches, sailed across ocean trenches, and tracked mammoths through the ice. Moving wasn't just a choice for us, it was our survival strategy. Our ancestors spent tens of thousands of years walking, sailing, and exploring, so that today you could open an app, buy a ticket, and feel right at home. No matter where you land,